I don't know. I've been a writer for a while, and but I'd never made a film before, but I had worked in human rights. And when you work in human rights, and when you work as a freelance journalist, you are used to having to kind of get your own gig going. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
You can't just go to someone and say, "Oh, the Bushmen need help. They're all being killed. Can you give me $1 million, please?" And people just say, "No, I don't care about the Bushmen." Yeah. How do you go and make it happen? You sort of have to start doing it, and then hope that people see what you're doing and feel that it has merit and back you. The same with journalism. I mean, in the early days when I would ring up a newspaper and say, "I want to go to Africa and do this story," they'd normally say, "Fine, go to Africa and do the story, come back, if we like it, maybe we'll publish it." You've got to get yourself there.
Yeah.
You make a plan, you do it by hook and by crook, you borrow money, you go into debt, you max out your credit card, you do whatever you have to do. You wash dishes, you work on construction sites, you finance your first trips, and then you come back and people say, "Oh, it was all right, okay, well maybe next time we'll..."
Yeah.
And it sort of builds like that, but I couldn't really tell you how it happened. I was as surprised by the acceleration of the thing as anybody else, and that can only lead me to believe that this is the time when we need as a society to be turning our attention towards autism, and fortunately it's happening.
So the film is coming out at the end of the year. Is that would that be all around the world or just in America?
Right, well, what happens is it happens differently in each country. So America will go out in cinemas from September through about March, and on TV in April, and then on DVD. Here,
so for April 2010 to be out on DVD.
Exactly, and I think the same here. Now it will be out on TV, BBC4 Storyville, sometime in this autumn, I think. But we may also get a cinema release, and I'm talking with a distribution company right now about that. After we showed a clip at the Hay Festival about a week and a half ago, and a distributor came forward and said, "Okay, I'm interested." In Australia, it goes out on DVD, I think actually quite soon in August, and there'll be a sort of limited cinema showing down there. So it sort of happens differently in each different place. But the book is out in pretty much every country now.
Wow. So I'm looking forward to the film coming out. So I mean, did you film it as like a doco? Because you've got real footage, haven't you? So obviously you've got like narration over the top.
Yes, exactly. We just had 2 cameras going the whole time, and just showed what happened basically.
I think it's going to be really, really good. I mean, obviously you've got the outlet there to really bring it to the world. I mean, this is one thing we've struggled with, is that although a lot of people know what autism is when they're affected by it or they're connected to someone who's got autism, there's still people around that don't really understand the condition.
Totally.
So
totally.
It's going to be good.
Well, this is it. To be honest, actually, some of the best feedback we've had have been from people who actually aren't connected to autism at all, who picked up the book because they were kind of interested in it as just a story of a family or a story of a journey, or they were interested in Mongolia, or they were interested in horses, or they were interested in parenting, or they were interested in just the fact that it looked like an interesting book, and then sent us an email saying, "Wow, I never knew about autism, and next time I see a family struggling with a tantruming kid on the road, maybe I won't, go and think they're terrible parents for not disciplining their child. Maybe I'll ask myself the question, maybe that kid's autistic.
Yeah.
Maybe these parents are going through a different adventure here. Maybe I need to be..." And we've had quite a few responses like that. And that makes me feel the book is doing its job, and the film is doing its job. Do you know what I mean?
I do. I mean, reading your book, when I laughed in so many places, because some of the things that Rowan did throughout the book, and even some of the games that you played with Rowan, we do with Neve. And there was one where you were singing to Rowan and he was telling you to stop singing or something like that, and you kept on singing. Now I do that all the time, and Neve is, "No singing, Daddy, no singing, Daddy." But singing's really good for them because it's like Dharma phrases. They kind of learn through more singing.
Absolutely, yeah, okay. Absolutely.
But the other thing as well is that, going back to the toilet training, we still haven't conquered that. And I mean,
how old is Neve now?
She's coming up to 6.
Okay.
But she's terrified of the toilet, and she goes off. And you described in the book the pose or what he did. Standing on tiptoes, and that is exactly what she does. And she'll hide herself away somewhere. But we've tried the toilet training thing. The school have tried the toilet training thing, and the harder we try, the worse it comes. We just leave her now. She's now in the biggest nappies that we can buy, and
right.
we don't know what we're going to do really, but we're kind of I don't know. We kind of reside to the fact that we just have to wait for her to be ready. There could be maybe someone's tried too hard on the toilet and she's completely freaked out by it. But and also the tantrums as well. I suppose they're not as spontaneous. There's always a reason. I don't know if Rowan seemed to be quite, at the time when you were suffering with your tantrums, they seemed to be quite spontaneous.
Yeah, I think they were a result of his overactive nervous system, getting the wrong signals from things.
Yeah. We've been fortunate in the way that it hasn't been as severe as that, but whenever there's been some kind of change, then she'll just be on the floor, completely vertical, flapping and everything like that. Or another really crazy thing is that they don't like change, but we moved her from nursery into the infant school, and that's a fairly big change. But we had a 2-week holiday, and she just moved to it as if the nursery never existed ever again.
Right.
And then a few days later, I was walking down the street, and then she came face to face with someone from a nursery, and she just freaked. It was on the floor.
Got you.
Do you see what I mean?
I do. I mean, it used to be every day for us that I would take Rowan from the house. Say, do you want to go ride Betsy? Go, yes. Very happy. He'd run down to the dry creek bed that separates my property from my neighbour's property, and he'd run up through the fence, and at the fence, which marks the transition, he'd tantrum, and then he'd tantrum all the way to the barn, which is about 300 yards. But it would be a slow and painful and loud 300 yards, and then he'd get to the barn, and then he'd be all right.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's funny, isn't it?
Day after day,
Yeah. Even he's been screaming like in a mad tantrum, and then I'd ask a question. I don't know if you've ever tried this, but I'd ask a question, and then almost like a split second in that tantrum, it'd be like a calm. The answer would come out, and then back to the tantrum again.
It's mad. It's mad.
I do find it absolutely fascinating.
Isn't it? That's the thing, is even when you're suffering, even at the moment of kind of greatest crisis, you're going, this is really fucking interesting.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. And in some ways, like, about the ego, I think, I'd love to be like that without an ego. Without being self-conscious. It's what your wife was saying. It's the ultimate Buddhism, isn't it?
It is. It's like being around somebody who's enlightened.
Yeah, and that's it. Oh no, it is incredible.
Enlightenment through poo. Who'd have thought? Only the Brits. We can see.
Oh, it's fantastic. I mean, is there anything else you want to cover? Actually, before we go, because just want to read out, if anybody wants to read Rupert's book about his son, it's called The Horse Boy. In the UK, it's published by Penguin Books, and it is available. I mean, I actually bought my copy in Sainsbury's, so it's pretty much available anywhere, but I'm sure you can also buy it on Amazon and places like that. And also, if you want to find out about the movie, there's a website called www.horseboymovie.com.